Thank you for letting us come today and spend some time with all of you. That was fantastic what those students did. They're great. They seem like a really great group, and that's awesome, the work that you're doing with them. So I get to hear about that a little bit. My wife is actually a school counselor over at Hillcrest High School, and her name's Stacy Hansen, so you may know her. I know Ken knows her because Ken had a chance to work with her for a long time. But you know, we had the opportunity to come and talk to you today, and I was going to throw a slide up here and I couldn't find it. I like Gary Larson. He's pretty funny, and I saw a picture of a castle, and there were some people in the castle, and they were shooting arrows down at these crusaders that were in a battle, and one looked at the other and said, I feel like these new uniforms we have really don't cut the mustard. And if you look at them, they have big targets on the front of the uniform. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening today. I have a big target on me because what I'm going to share with you is really exciting, good things. But at the same time, I know to the school board, it's going to hit you right in the target. Because when you see that information, it's almost overwhelming. And I knew what we were doing from Rockwell. I knew the development that we were involved in. But as I started to piece that together with the other development within the district, it was overpowering. And that's what I want to share with you today. So to kind of start us off, I like to ask this question is, where is all the growth coming from? Where is it all coming from? I don't have any amazing graphs or charts to share with you today and show you where all that growth is coming from. But what I do have is I can tell you that we build and sell hundreds of homes every single year. And we get to see who's actually buying those homes. And from my best estimation, when we do that, the large percentage of that growth is coming from families right here in Southeast Idaho. It's your sons, your daughters that stay here and want to have the same lifestyle that you have, and that's what is causing the large percentage of this growth. A couple statistics that I wanted to talk about right now that I was given is, on average, if we look at households and we want to take an average as we start to talk about this, there's approximately 2.5 children per household. That's an average. The one thing I would mention, in a lot of the areas where we build, I think that average may be even a little higher. But let's use the 2.5 average and let's go through and kind of talk about this and see what's coming. So I just want to use a little scenario here to set the stage so we all know what we're talking about. Let's say that we have 300 new families or 300 new homes that come into the district. If we use that average of 2.5 children, that means that we have 750 new children for every 300 homes that come into the district. That's a lot. By my estimation, 750 new children, that's a brand new elementary school. I might be off a little bit of what I'm thinking here, but I would say that's about that. I'm not the expert, so if I'm wrong on some of this information, don't cast stones. I'm just a regular guy. So I wanted to break this in two, and after we're done, I'll hand out a sheet that has all this information on it, so you can have a chance to digest it. So I hope I don't move too quickly through this, but I want to give you a taste of all of the growth that is coming to this area right now, and particularly just in District 93. So what I have up here is this is the north half of District 93. So this is everything that would be north of Lincoln Road. These are all of the projects that are coming. So I'm going to start. If you look up here on the left-hand top of the screen, I'm going to talk about Rock River. Rock River will have approximately 85 homes. It's located on the east side of Ammon Road, about a quarter mile south of 49th North. Currently, there's homes under construction, and the next division is under construction. So, Jay, how many homes did we think was going to come out of Rock River this year? Do you remember?
They're putting in 2 divisions right there alone. They can't put them in fast enough. So 30 some.
At least 30 that we'll probably see this year just in families. Wolf Creek, which is right next to it, it's more on the corner, that will have about 212 homes in Wolf Creek. And it's in the current, oh, thank you. We'll see if I can figure this out. It's Wolf Creek right here. Wolf Creek, it's in the same situation. There's homes that are being built in there with another division right on its heels, and then for all intents and purposes, that will continue until that entire subdivision is built out. The next one on my list here is North Red Rock Estates. North Red Rock Estates kind of sits on the north end of Red Rock. This particular subdivision will have about 100 homes in it. That is a Rockwell subdivision, and it's under development right now, so we're getting prepared to go into there this summer and just to begin construction on that. Thomasville Estates. Thomasville is over here in Iona. Thomasville will have 113 homes. We should be under construction in there this summer. Hope to be building homes in there in the fall. That's about a 2-year project for us, and we'll be done. Coming over here to Berkeley Park. Berkeley Park, we just did 2 divisions in there. Over 60 homes were completed in 8 months. Our next 2 divisions are under construction right now. The next 2 behind them have been accepted, and we start work on those in about a month. So the next 2 divisions behind them have about 65 homes. Our projection in Berkeley Park is to have all 343 homes done in about 5 years. Green Valley, right across the street, currently has 62 homes under construction. All those 62 homes will be finished within the year. We come over here to East Village. East Village is across from Country Haven subdivision. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And we're in the planning stages of East Village. We hope to get under construction on that next summer. Guardian Homes, they're putting in a subdivision right here. Guardian, I noticed just yesterday, all the machinery came in. They're starting to cut in the roads. They'll be building 60 homes. Another big project. So if we look at this, the one thing I didn't mention is, in addition to this, I didn't want to put them up there, but I had another additional lots of about 47 lots that are random lots in other subdivisions that aren't quite built out that are on that side. But that's 177 families just on the north side of Lincoln. So what does that mean? 177 families times 2.5 children, which is our average. That's 2,693 new children. Most of those probably we'll see in the next 3 years, 5 years on the top end. Am I right in that, Jay?
They're going faster than they planned.
And like I mentioned, a lot of our divisions that we mentioned there will be done in within a year and a half to 2 years. So let's take a look now at the current growth in the southern half of District 93. As we look at the southern half, this is a map. There's quite a few more subdivisions here. Let's start up here with North Springs. North Springs is barely on the other side of Lincoln Road, off of Ammon Road. That has just about 16 lots in it. It's currently under construction. They'll be building in there this summer. That'll fill up really quick. Bridgewater, many of you are familiar with that. Of course, there's an elementary school in Bridgewater. We have 52 homes that will be going in there. This one I put in here, the residents at First Street. There's 350 units right now that are being constructed by Karchner Homes at the residence off of First Street. Here's the scary part. they're getting ready to go across the street to build 350 more. Now let's talk about Warm Springs. Warm Springs Townhouse project, that's 48 units that'll go in there next to Warm Springs. Just to give you a taste, when we went into Warm Springs, we built just over 60 units in there, and it took us less than a year, and they were all filled up and we were out of Warm Springs.
Right across from residents, are they doing more apartments or more houses?
The residents at First Street, those are all apartments.
And then across the street, you said they're going to expand?
Warm Springs Townhomes,
No, south side of First.
South Side, it's a project by Karchner Homes, and they're planning on going to the south side of the road.
And doing
The same project, 350 apartments on that same site. And I didn't account for that other 350 because, but when you see the numbers, it's not really going to matter. Let's talk about, it really is comforting. It makes you feel really good. Canyon Ridge, this is a great subdivision right behind our office. There will be 36 homes in there. That's currently under construction or development of the land, and they'll start construction this summer, I believe.
Less than a year.
Less than a year. About a year build out on those as well. Okay, from there let's go to Valencia Park. Now I apologize, these are not quite in the exact location where they are on the map. The map was getting too big and I couldn't fit everything in, so I kind of put them over here on the side. But Valencia Park is the best way to describe it. It's kind of behind Fairwinds over by Sunnyside, if you're familiar with Fairwinds are. And there's 106 new units that are going into Valencia Park. Right down a little bit to the south from that is Brookside. Brookside will have an additional 38 going into their subdivision this year. If you're familiar in Ammon where the Maverick is, right here, this multi-fourplex next to the soccer arena building, there will be about 120 multifamily units that will be going in there. I'm not 100% clear on when construction will start there, but I know they've submitted their stuff to the city of Ammon, and they're prepared to start building pretty quick. This is a new subdivision we're doing. It's called Olson Park. There will be 127 units in Olson Park. The biggest phase of that we just put in 3 weeks. We'll start building homes in there. Our hope is to be out of there in about a year and a half to 2 years. Let's keep going this direction. Granite Creek. Granite Creek has the potential of over 150 homes. They have their first phase that's in. It's going fast. Let's move over here. Hawks Landing has an additional 35 homes that's going into Hawks Landing. And its neighbor, Founders Point, has another 40 homes. Founders Point, by the way, has over 1,000 acres for them to expand into. And so I would have to do the math on that, huh, Jay? But it's at least 2 per acre, so there'd be 2,000 homes that could go in there over a long period of time into Founders Point. But I just put 40. Let's see, Mountain Bend Estates. That's over here. This is 49th North. So Mountain Bend Estates is just west of Crowley Road. There will be another 90 units that are going in there, plus the homes that are under construction currently. Highland Springs. So you come down Crowley just a little bit further, we'll connect on to Cortland Ridge here. Take this space right here. There'll be an additional 82 homes there. We just talked to Kyle, who's going to go in there and start development work on that. They said they'd be there next week, I think, or pretty quick.
This summer.
It'll be this summer, and so they'll be building in there right away. Last but not least, Woodland Hills. Woodland Hills is this whole entire area here. It'll be 176 homes. We hope to be started in there this summer. So as we go from here, that's 1,518 families just in the southern part of District 91. That's the type of growth that is coming to the district. I know you're looking nervous. It's okay. We're going to make it through. It'll work out. I'm just giving you the facts, that's all. So 1,518 new families times our average of 2.5 children per family. That's over 3,795 new children. Even if you took out the apartments, that 350 that's over there on First Street, it's an outrageous number. A big growth that's coming to our area. Combined growth from north and south, this is when it gets really scary. 2,595 new families times our average, the 2.5 gives us over 6,488 new children in the district. I see most of that growth coming in 2 to 3 years. I mean, just in the next year alone is going to be, it's a lot of homes. I was talking to Scott the other day. Scott asked me, approximately how many homes will Rockwell build? We'll build at least 300 homes this year. And so that first statistic that I showed you, that's just us. That's not all of the other builders in the area. Usually they combine for a little more than what we do. Plus what continues to come into the area. We continue to grow at a certain percentage every year. It just continues to snowball as we move forward. This is the last slide. Why do we do the math now? And before I talk about that, I want to turn some time over to Jay, because Jay is way better at this than me. And I want him just to share a little bit of his wisdom, because he's been involved in this business for a long time, and I always learn something from Jay.
Thank you. I told Greg he ought to inflate the numbers because John said to do that. And after he got through with them, he started to go down. I told him, after we visited with John about it for a little while, he asked, would you kind of put it together and show the board what you know? And Greg and I said, well, yeah, we could do that. We didn't realize what it really was going to come up with. It's just, and I told Greg and I went over it last night. He got it all together, and I said, well, now let me go and look it over to sure what you're saying and doing, And I went home to my wife last night. I said the numbers are overwhelming, and they're real, because all that Greg put up there is the numbers that are subdivisions that are in the works now. These aren't anything that nobody doesn't know about. These are all ones that are platted, preliminary plats that are being worked on. So an interesting thing is some of you know Doug Crabtree, the CEO of the hospital. He and I are really good friends. When I was just first a teacher and he was just a healthcare worker, we were friends. And I said to him, it was over 20 years ago, and we were doing some building. I said, well, Doug, what's going to happen in this area? I know that the hospital's spending a lot of money to build this new hospital. And he said, they don't go in blindly. He said they spend $1 million on a study to determine what the growth would be in this area if they could spend the money on that hospital. And I said, whoa, that's a lot of money for $1 million. And he said, our study shows that the Iowa Falls area will have a growth of 8% per year. Consistently, it'll just go forever. And so that's why they spend a lot of money on that hospital. Well, 20 years later, he's been right, hasn't he? It's an interesting thing that they were right, that study shows. So I just wanted to share that with you, because that's, hindsight can see what's coming into today right here. Greg and I aren't selling anything. We're here as public servants. Just because we were asked to do this in there. So, but I just wanted to share that with you. And just one other little thing is, I paid for vote no on the first high school one, so you know where I stood, so you know I'm not selling anything. And then when you scaled it back, then and I got all of my children, that's 11, and I told you 64 grandchildren, so we have a little bit of influence. And I got them all to vote for the new high school. And then Corey and I had a difference of opinion on it. In there, some things about there, but that's all right. Some things about the high school, and then we come forward. But about a year ago, John called my son and my son-in-law both and asked him about trading. You have a lot right there, Stan Boyle's lot that's landlocked for a new grade school. I guess you're aware of that, it's landlocked, pretty well landlocked. You hate to admit it, but it is. And he called the boys and said, would you trade the ground on some ground, because I got some ground on 49th there. And I told him I wasn't interested. I got to trade prime ground for landlocked piece. Where the water would be reached to. And so I let it go some time, and I don't know what happened in there. Maybe I talked to John, or he finally got hold of me, or somehow. I told him I wasn't interested, trading prime subdivision ground that I could sell for my boys to use. I wasn't interested. And I hadn't been a week or two, and something said, "You're wrong, buddy." I've learned to listen to that little boy. He said, you trade in that ground, whatever it takes, you get in that ground. So I called John back and said, yeah, I'll trade you my ground. Your ground for my ground, just straight across if you want to do that. So you can have, out on 49th, you can have access right off the main roads instead of trying to go through subdivisions. And so we kind of just decided we'd do that. But, so somebody's looking out for you. But I really wasn't going to do that. And then the same thing that we talked about, one that it's kind of down in the middle of what's the Springs one called, Greg? Highland Springs, and I have the ground out there on 49th north, south too, so it could get you out there. So we said, the impression came, why don't you call John and say he doesn't want to trade, they really should have a better location. So we talked to, that's where we were last time when they asked us to do that presentation, and so we just said we'd trade you if you want to, so you could have way to get your buses in and out, and the public can get in and out without going through subdivisions. So I've been willing to trade a couple of pieces of ground for your schools in there. And then just one little lesson. This is Chuck and I had some different, Amy invited me to one of your school board meetings about high school, and Chuck and I had a little good discussion about that. but I learned something many years ago. I was really a young bishop, and the stake president, we had a dairy farm in our ward, and the dairy farmer worked for the church, and he was going broke. And I was really irritated, so I let the stake president have it on my interview. We really had words. You don't usually have a bishop and a stake president have words when I'm under him. We kind of had words. And when we got all through, I had this great increase of love for this man that I had just differed with. And I learned a great lesson. We were talking about ideas, not people. I loved that man. Just because he differed from what I thought, that didn't make him not a good man. So I learned to distinguish the difference between people and ideas. When you differ on ideas, that doesn't mean the person's bad or good. Does that make sense? And I think that's really an important thing because in the community, I get the other side of the words that you don't hear a lot of the times, and Chuck takes a lot of he takes a lot of the blame for your decisions. Because you make the decisions, he doesn't make the decisions. But I hear it's all Chuck Sackett, and you ought to send out the door, and you hear some of those things too, but I hear them from my side too, and I think, haven't you learned the difference that this man has to express an opinion, and he has to fight valiantly for the school and the board, and it hasn't anything to do with the man. This is what he's hired to do, and so we have to learn to distinguish between, just because we're different in the opinion. And I know you have some tough choices to make, some tough decisions to make with schools, and building brand new schools and spending a lot of money. And I'm appreciative of what you're doing because my taxes go up every time you build schools. Anyway, Yeah, that's what I just wanted to put in the word that I think superintendent, even though we had a difference in opinion, that had nothing to do with whether I really like Chuck. I do, in there, so. And still different opinions. So I just wanted to share that with you. Does that make sense? Greg's not always on the same political side as his neighbors. But he's sure a good man. Greg and I. Anyway, that was what I just wanted you to know why I'm willing to trade. I just wanted you to know why I was willing to trade. Is I think there's something amiss in there.
Thank you, Jay.
Greg, I think Greg, he sits on the State Board of Transportation. He ought to share with you something about they're saying about road. Has nothing to do with school boards.
Yeah, well, just so you don't feel alone, we've had these same conversations with District 91, and they're experiencing similar growth. We're trading ground. We're trying to figure out how we can best help in the situation. We want to be helpful in that situation. Unfortunately, we can't stop the wave that's coming here. Our kids are here, they like to stay, they need a place to live, and we try to provide that service for people. But with the State Board of Transportation, one of the challenges that they have is their funding. About 92% of their funding for roads comes from the federal government. Another about 6% of that comes from the state, and whatever's left over is left for the local community to come up with money for roads. And one of the things that they try to do right now, they're looking forward 4 to 8 years. So we have to forecast 4 to 8 years through the census material to what's happening in our area to be able to get funding for those roads that they want to be able to put in. Anybody want to guess what that forecast is for the Idaho Falls area over the next 4 to 8 years? Come on, what do you think, Scott?
120.
Their estimation is our population will double by the time we get to 8 years. That's about as fast as we're going. Especially with the new projects that are coming to the site. There's a lot of other businesses that are growing, and what's happening here, if you look at the model of growth that we're experiencing right now, we're already surpassing what their estimations were 4 to 8 years ago when that happened. And so growth is happening. I don't envy the board. I realize what a challenge it is to have to plan for growth. I realize those that are in favor and those that are in opposition to handling that growth and the best way to do it. And so today, really, the reason why I'm here is just to ask that question now. Why do the math? Why are we showing you all this? Is to be prudent and to look to the future. Anything that you do now, being a businessman and being involved in developing and building homes, I can tell you right now that it's always cheaper today than it is tomorrow. And it's always cheaper today than it is 5 years from now. And we can benefit from that and literally save millions of dollars if we think that way. And if we really look at what's coming and we're thoughtful and prudent about those decisions that we make. And I have the confidence that as the school board members, you guys can do that. I hope that the information we have here will help you. If you have any further questions or we can help you in any way, we would be more than happy to do that. I appreciate all of your time today. Thank you. I will give you guys this.
Is there any way to get that PowerPoint? Or is that?
Yeah, I could figure out a way to get it to you, or if somebody's here, if we had a thumb drive. After we're done, we can go play with it. And if you guys have any questions for me, that was the other thing. What questions do you have?
I have a question. How does this growth affect Rexburg and Hello and the whole corridor right here?
I'm not sure, and well, the corridor is shrinking, and so there's a lot of growth in Whitby right now. We just built in Idaho Falls, our subdivisions that are the furthest to the north would be like Red Rock and our Thomasville project that you saw up on the screen. But it's coming together. Rexburg is growing at an enormous rate as well. With the changes to BYU Idaho, they just continue to grow. And so, as far as going to Pocatello, we have two subdivisions in Pocatello that we're building in right now. And Pocatello is experiencing a lot of growth. And so the corridor from here to Pocatello, I'm sure that'll continue to grow. But right now, what I see is just Idaho Falls just continues to kind of expand. And so I know that's a challenge when you have a school building and you want to fill it up and you have to rezone and keep those buildings full of kids. But even keeping them all filled, you can see what's coming. What other questions do you have for me? Greg?
How would you compare the percentage growth that we're currently experiencing now to, say, the 2004 to 2007 timeframe? Is it similar? Is it bigger, less?
I think we're, as far as increase and growth, I think we're actually surpassing. 2007 was kind of the height before we started to dip and go into the recession. The one thing that's fortunate for this area, if you look at an area like California, the prices of their homes skyrocket really quickly. And then when it crashes, they crash really quickly, and it crashes everything. And we're fortunate that we have good people like Jay, honestly, who we try so hard to keep the prices down on land and development and the homes. And fortunately, because of that, that drives the market. And so when we go into a recession, we may dip a little bit, but we don't dip like the other markets. And so when the market starts to come back, we come back so much better and so much stronger as we do that. And we've seen an increase, but not anything even close to what you see on a national scale. And so, yes, we're growing at that pace right now, absolutely. But I think it's going to continue for sure. We can't see too far into the future, but for the next couple of years, it looks very strong.
So try to pin you down a little bit. So are you saying the current growth rate is more than what it was in 2007?
We're going to surpass that.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
And part of that other reason too is now you have other builders that are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it's...
Yep. Thank you.
Other questions?
You don't have to stay forever. You don't pay very well. But it really was a good lunch.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Pennington, thank you so much for putting that together.
It wasn't what we expected. It was way more than what we just in conversation expected.
Oh, absolutely.
It was mind-boggling to us who are even, to my boys, I'm not in there anymore, but I go over and watch them, and I don't know if you've gone up 49, or I don't know. They just go in and put in, you see they put an entire 60 foundations in, and they sold every house on the other side of the street, and they can't even get a new division put in Texas.
Our inventory right now, I don't have a home I could sell someone right now. It's complete. People that buy homes from us right now, their closed dates are November. So our inventory is all sold out to about November.
They're going to put 100 homes out in that school district online with new families by the time school starts. And if it's not by the time school starts, the kids will still be coming in November. Checking it. Does that make sense? You can't just say by the day they're open.
Not to scare Ken, but I don't know if Green Valley is still in yours, but those 62 are dying. You got 62 coming your way. Berkeley Park, you'll have about another 60 or
Berkeley
70.
Park is mine too.
You get them all. You get them all. Thomasville's right on its heels, so we won't, we'll keep them coming to you.
Good luck. We know you have tough decisions to make. I think we expressed for the community, we appreciate your efforts, and we know that whatever choice you make, we may not always agree with all these decisions. But we know that you're doing the very best that you think you can. That's good enough. That's good enough.
This is really impressive information. Thank you. Frightening.
We're sure we're impressed with the students.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so